Welcome to the Eutaw Street Banter Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode here on the Eutaw Street Banter. I'm here, like always, with Elijah. What's up, bud?
Not much. How are you?
Doing good. We're almost, a week and a half? I guess baseball starts next week, right?
Korea. I think it starts Wednesday.
It's like soon. Yeah, it's like soon. But
Like that.
Yeah. But Elijah, what do we have going on today in this episode?
So we're going to start off with going over some roster changes that we have, and then we're going to look at a player or two, such as Kyle Stowers, how he's been on fire. Then we'll take a look at our bullpen and what it's going to shape out to be for this season, and maybe we'll take a look at some former players of the Orioles. And then we're going to talk up to a very special guest, the assistant GM of the Shorebirds, who's the low A affiliate of the Orioles, Jimmy Sweet.
Awesome, man. Yeah, really excited to hear from Mr. Sweet. But yeah, really excited about baseball coming up. We just had some big news drop, which I guess it was last night. Blake Snell agrees to a 2-year deal with the San Francisco Giants. I'm a little annoyed with this because I thought that it was going to be a lot more that he was going to get. I mean, he signed with the Giants for 2 years, $62 million. That being said, maybe he wanted to stay on the West Coast, you know what I mean? So he was with the Padres, so he stayed in the same state.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, I don't know, he came out asking for a lot, which I'll give it. 2-time Cy Young, he's a good pitcher, but you know it's a problem when you ask too much money from the Yankees, that you're probably asking for too much. And I guess he waited too long, and now if he does good this year, he'll opt out and try to get another big contract. But he better hope he doesn't regress.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't believe somebody that won the Cy Young Award last year. I don't know what the biggest differential would be. Pretty large one. I just can't believe it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I literally thought that, he was still going to get his contract some way, somehow.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
especially
pretty
like all the Garrett Cole injury, and now you got Nestor Cortez opening day starter for the Yankees. You would have thought they would have made a move. There's plenty of other teams that could have done something, but it's ultimately
so even though the Orioles didn't upgrade at all, I think this is a good week for us. I mean, Dylan Cease goes to the Padres, so that's out of our league, and then Snell goes to the Giants, which is also out of our league. So then neither of them came to the AL East. So unless it was the Orioles, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, it couldn't have been any better, really, for us.
Right.
Obviously, you don't want to hope for people to get hurt,
right.
But if someone's going to get hurt, I'd rather it be a Yankee.
not an Oriole, right?
Yeah,
that's for sure.
That's true.
We do have some roster changes that happened this week. You want to go over those real quick?
Yeah, so just a few minor ones. You had on the 16th, Peyton Burdick, Matt Crook, and Caleb Orr all got optioned to the Norfolk Tides, which actually it's pretty funny because Peyton Burdick, we claimed a while ago, I think from the Marlins, I'd like to say. I'm not sure. Then we passed him through waivers again. He got claimed. And then we just claimed him again from the Chicago White Sox. And then Matt Crook, Caleb Orr, we've had him for a couple weeks now. They're two pitchers. I don't know. I thought Matt Crook maybe had a shot making the bullpen. Caleb Orr kind of struggled this spring. But they'll both start the year in the Tide, and we'll see if they can make their way back up to the majors.
Yeah, I mean, just one note. I mean, I don't think we've talked about Burdick, very much. He's a big swing and miss guy, sort of like the old Orioles of the past. You either hit a home run or you strike out. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know what that will ever, if he ever touches the O's uniform. He would be somebody that would have to fight with a Ryan McKenna because he is an outfielder. So they would have to see which one they want. And we'll see, I guess,
Yeah.
The next guy I know you want to talk about is the dude that hit 3 bombs the other night, right? And that's Kyle Stowers, who is having just a massive spring, a massive past week or so. But now he's been having a good spring. The problem with him, though, is my man is in a bad time. If he was playing 2 years ago, like this, we would be solid. Yeah. But you got Colton Cowser, who's also going off.
Yeah, no, if this was last season, that would have been the perfect year for him to go off. But it's really bad timing because it's terrible to think of, but he's been doing insane this spring. Like, he's got 7 home runs, which leads all of spring training. I know RBIs aren't a huge stat, but he's tied for second in spring training with RBIs. I mean, like you said, he just hit 3 home runs. And look, I know it's spring training, but he hit it off of 2 major leaguers, Kenta Maeda, who's been around for a while, and then Reese Olson's. He was a starter for the Tigers last year, threw 103 innings in the big leagues. These are 2 major league pitchers. It's not some nobodies that showed up from single A. Like, he's doing it against good competition, and it's terrible to think that he's going to get sent down because I don't know. He's got, I mean, a 250 batting average isn't great, but I mean, 5.71 slug is an 8.47 OPS. It's just that he's doing crazy, but I don't know. It's going to be really sad to see him start the year at the Tides.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you thought that, he was one of our top prospects coming up, and it's just he kind of cooled off, a little bit, or not. I guess it cooled off's harsh because we just had some larger prospects come up through the system. So that's really it's his roadblock right now, like a Colton Cowser and those guys. So, and then obviously the other roadblock right now is Austin Hayes and Cedric Mullins for him personally. I guess Santander too. Yeah. So we'll see. I know you have down here that, do we trade on? Right. And that's tough. I would have to say, if you could get a solid if you could get a solid relief pitcher, right? If they gave you a package, a solid relief pitcher, or, that's probably it. That's all you can get from. But I don't know. Maybe you could package him with one of the, somebody else, one of the higher tier prospects. Give it a Dylan Beavers and a Kyle Stowers for one of the top relievers in baseball. I mean, that would be a solid trade package.
No, and I think you just kind of, speaking of Dylan Beavers, you also spoke about his problems. You can't really even keep him around for depth because, like you said, we have a Cowser, we have Kerstad, we have Dylan Beavers, and then you look farther down the line, you got Judd Fabian, Enrique Bradfield Jr. That we're stacked with outfield talent, and we're kind of spoiled. Like, number 1 farm in baseball. So, like you said, go get a reliever. I don't think we get any major league talent for him. I think it's whatever the best trade possible is some team that wants to ride off this hot spring that he's having, and go get a couple 18-year-old prospects that Elias will find a way. They'll be impactful in a couple years. But I don't really think you see anybody impactful come from him. But you want to almost do him a favor and give him a shot, because I don't see him getting a shot with the Orioles.
It reminds you a lot of Joey Ortiz, where he's roadblocked every which way. So we'll see. We'll see what we do. I like Kyle Stowers so much. It just stinks for him. It's one of those things where you're just hoping that, one day we're not pitching to him and he hits it over the right field wall, because that could definitely happen.
I mean, that's for the little amount of time that he played with us. I remember watching a late game, 9th inning, and he comes up and hits a home run off of Liam Hendricks when we were playing the White Sox in the 9th inning. I think it was I don't think it was a walk-off. I think it tied it up. And that, I mean, I was mad at him because I had Liam Hendricks on my fantasy baseball team, but you always love when the Orioles do better. But
absolutely.
I don't know. It's really sad. But like I said, I think we're just so spoiled with talent that maybe, like I said, go get some 18-year-old shortstop or a couple low-level pitchers that'll go to Delmarva for a year or two just to try to get something.
Yeah. Say we don't get any bullpen help. What's your bullpen looking like for the O's right now, especially as we get ready to enter the regular season?
Yeah. So I think our bullpen's definitely a lot more shaky than it was last year. But what I'll definitely say, we have at least 4 locks. You probably have a couple more people that I would say would be close to locks. But from what I would consider is 4 definites is going to be Craig Kimbrell, Yenye Cano, Danny Coulomb, and CNL Perez. They've been there. They've proven themselves. They've had good springs. They're going to be there on opening day. I guarantee it. And then someone who I thought was probably going to maybe be in the bullpen, Matt Crook, since he's not going to be here. I have a couple other names that I'll give you my first 3 players, and these are the ones that I think will most likely make it. And we'll start with Dylan Tate, who I'll eat my own words on it. Yes, I didn't think he was going to make the opening day roster on our very first episode when I did the roster projections, but I'm okay being wrong if he's going to be good. He's killed it this spring in 6 innings, not giving up a run, had a .33 whip, which for those of you that don't know, whip is walks and hits above innings pitched. So it just takes all the walks and hits you've given up and divides it by the inning pitch. Sub 1 is elite, and so he's been really, really good this spring. And then I'll give you another name who I did have on my roster, Mike Bauman. He's out of options, so that kind of gives him a leg up over some other people. And I think he's, yet again, not giving up any runs, has a sub .4 whip, 6 Ks. He's done pretty good. He'll definitely make it too. And do you have any other ones that you think of?
Yeah, I mean, my big one is I'm really thinking that, well, obviously, you got Brian Baker here who's been having a good spring. But I think Julio Teheran might actually break it. I thought when we signed him that it was just a short-term thing. He'd show us that he can't do anything. But I'm excited for that because I like that arm slot. I like the experience. If we only get a month out of him, we only get a month out of him. But I think with his experience and, the stats is he has a 4.82 ERA, but I watched him pitch and he doesn't look bad at all. Like a lot of movement, a lot of ride on his season fastball, up and in on righties. I think he can get us 1 or 2 innings, and we'll see. We'll go from there. I don't know. I could be totally off on this because this is more eyeball test and not the stats test. But they're definitely giving him a lot of chances. They've given him 9.1 innings, so they want to see him too.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. I think he could come in and kind of fill the role that Cole Irvin had last year when he wasn't starting. Kind of not pitching a lot, maybe once a week, twice a week, but he's going to come in, say we're either blowing someone out, we're getting blown out. We just need a couple innings taken up at the back end of the bullpen, and we don't want to throw someone like a CNL Perez and eat up an inning in a game that's not going to really matter for him. Throw in Julio Teheran. He's been around long enough that he may have a 4.82 ERA, but kind of know what he's going to give us. He's going to give us innings. Say we need a spot start here or there, he'll be there for you. I think he's going to, like I said, I think he's going to be kind of this year's Cole Irvin. Definitely could see him taking that last spot of the bullpen. Another name I like is Keegan Aiken, which would definitely give us a lot of lefties. That'd be our 3rd lefty in the bullpen. But I mean, he's done incredible. He's got 10 Ks in 7.1 innings. Got a sub .3 whip. I don't know. It's just, I never really liked him. Every time I go to the Camden Yards and I watch him, he's just not good. I feel like he's always getting hit around, but maybe this is the year. Maybe this is the year.
One thing I do like right now is when we're talking about what we're gonna what to expect and who's gonna make the team and all this stuff. The question marks are only in the bullpen. Used to we had a lot of question marks throughout the whole roster. So pretty excited about that. There's a lot of roster locks. We'll probably get to that a little more next week, right before the season starts. Or maybe we'll get some answers on by then on who makes the team, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that. I'm pretty excited that our only questions are which good reliever isn't going to make the team. Is there any bullpen arms that you're looking at that maybe other people aren't?
Yeah, I have 2 names here, and I did mention one earlier. I'll start off with him is Matt Crook. So we got Crook off of waivers from the Yankees, who he pitched with a little bit last season, but I really, really like him. His sinker has been compared to Zach Britton's, which anytime Orioles fans hear anything about Zach Britton, that makes you automatically like him. I will say it is very slow. His average fastball speed is 88.7 miles an hour. So it's not speed's not where he's going to get you. But he had statistically one of the best sweepers in minor leagues last year, which is very impressive because that's a new up-and-coming pitch that a lot of people are starting to throw. So I think if the Orioles really work with him, maybe try to get him to get that 2-pitch mix more with just the sinker and sweeper. And that's kind of what the Orioles have been good with lately, is developing some players like that. He could be an impactful middle reliever. What I really like to look at with players like this is he has a lot of really good, important stats that no one thinks of. He has a really, really low average exit velocity off of him. He has a really high hard hit really low hard hit percentage and barrel percentage. So the amount of time a barrel, like someone hits hard contact or hits the ball really, really hard. And then he has a really, really high ground ball percentage. So it's just ground balls are always a good thing. Keep the ball on the ground. We got good defense in the infield. They'll make plays. I think he definitely has a chance to make the roster this year. Thought he'd make it on opening day almost, but obviously he won't. But another name I have here is Wanderson Charles. He has a lot less on him. I've kind of been on him since the start of the spring, but he walks a lot, and that's kind of been his troubles throughout the minors. But if he gets the walks down, he's a big strikeout guy. I definitely could see him coming up and just filling in even just for a month or two and just being kind of a low impact guy. But he'll definitely be a piece that I think you could see in the bullpen at some point.
Yeah.
How about you?
My guy is Chase McDermott. I hope that I see him come in this year. I'm excited about him. He's had a decent spring. Yeah, he's only pitched 6 innings, 10 strikeouts in those 6 innings. I don't know what else he can do. I mean, you're almost striking out 2 an inning. That's pretty darn good in my opinion. The only thing I will say is I haven't seen every game that he's pitched, so I don't know who he's pitching against every time. A few times I have seen him when he does pitch against the big league clubs. The issue is obviously Masson refuses to ever, show the Orioles play, which, that's odd. But he's probably my biggest guy that I want to see, that I'm excited to see. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm trying to not get too caught up on our bullpen, because I know that no matter what we say, Elias is going to bring in somebody I have never heard of, like a Cano. Like Cano comes out and I'm like, dude, he was terrible last year, and he comes out and just dominates. So I'm going to trust our management that they'll do the right thing, and hopefully they're right like they normally are,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they've definitely every year they found that one or two guys that can really help out. Like you had 2022, you had Jorge Lopez
Absolutely.
step up. Felix Bautista came out of nowhere. Then last season, obviously Bautista just became the best closer in baseball. Like you said, Yunya Cano came out of absolutely nowhere with like a 12 ERA and got like 20 some guys out in a row. It's just you got to trust in Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a pretty cool thing that you saw with a game in Korea this past week, right?
Yeah, so I was just scrolling through Instagram today, and then I saw a picture, and it was someone that looked familiar with Manny Machado, and I'm like, who's this? I looked, I was like, that's Hyun-Soo Kim.
Wow.
I don't know how many Orioles fans remember him, but he was with the Orioles 2016 and then part of the 2017 season. Signed him out of Korea. He plays for the LG Twins now, who just happened to play the Padres. That's why the picture of Manny and him together, who, of course, played together for about a year and a half. But I just was starting to look, and I just remember him being terrible. And I know that's how, I just remember we all thought he was bad. And I guess we all underappreciated him, because I started looking more into his stats, and some of the more like statistic stats, not just the face value stuff, actually shows he was better than we all thought.
Okay.
So I'm looking and I'm like, what's this season close to? And then I compared his stats to Ryan O'Hearn from this past year, and they are crazily similar. So O'Hearn played in about 10 more games, and he had about 15 more plate appearances. So he had a couple more hits, definitely had a lot more home runs. Hyun-Soo Kim wasn't big in the power, a lot more RBIs, but the Orioles just weren't that good in 2016, so that probably helped too. Well, they weren't great, but they weren't as good as we were this past year. But Hyun-Soo Kim had a better batting average by almost 20 points. He had a better OBP by 60 points. And then this is what really shocked me. They had the same exact OPS, which I don't know, for those of you who don't know, OPS is on base plus slug. So it takes in your on-base percentage and your slug. And O'Hearn was more of a slugger last year. You would think of him as more as power hitter, get some doubles, not too much just for base hits. And so they had the same slug. So I'm just thinking, we really underappreciated this guy for his time. And maybe he was only here for about a year and a half. But I just thinking back to those teams, it's of course how I grew up looking at him. And I don't remember him being that good. But apparently he was better than I thought.
Hey, you know what? I remember when we signed him, I was so excited to get him. And then, I don't know if you remember, he went the whole spring training without a hit. Like either the whole spring training almost, because we wanted to send him to AAA, but he rejected it. And then a lot of Orioles fans, so I remember that a lot of Orioles fans had a little bit of, dislike towards him at first.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I guess he made the right decision. He went back. Remember, I think we traded him or something with the Phillies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we traded him to the Phillies. Yeah, but no, he just he reminds me of that time where we just had so many random players.
Oh my gosh.
That
Yeah.
we could do a whole episode just naming these random players and think about, like, my favorite name that I always think about is, I think it was 2018 maybe. We got Johnny Giavotella.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
I remember I watched him. I think it was when we played like the White Sox or something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the now Guardians, but watched him play. That was just a great name to say. I mean, there's just I don't know, because you look at the Orioles now and you don't really see so many just random guys like that. Like, yeah, we have maybe an Adam Frazier and a Kyle Gibson, but not really any random one-offs that played for 20 games that you're never going to see again.
Right.
Maybe we're finally going to be a dominant team that just has a consistent lineup every year.
Yeah, for real. I hope so. Well, you spoke about Manny Machado there for a second, and one neat thing, just to let O's fans kind of remember, is Manny Machado came from, when we drafted him, he started down with the Delmarva Shorebirds, right? And pretty cool. We got the assistant general manager with us, Mr. Jimmy Sweet. He's been with the Delmarva Shorebirds since 2003, and just a great guy. And we are so excited to have him and to kind of hear what he has to say about some up and coming things and some of his favorite things that's happened as he's been with the Shorebirds. What are we doing?
Good. How are you today?
Doing good. Thank you so much for doing this for us.
I'm glad to help you out, as you well know.
Real quick, we did want to ask, is there any upcoming events for the Shorebirds during the season that you're looking forward to?
Well, we've got a few promotions that I look forward to. It's actually we do a series of Maryland Pride giveaways. As you know, the Maryland flag is a big thing. And so we designed our Thursdays around that. Our team wears Maryland flag themed jersey every Thursday. And then for 5 of the 10 Thursdays, we do giveaways that are, again, have the Maryland flag theme around them. So we're doing a bobblehead of Jackson Holiday this year. We do a hat every year as part of that theme. We do a replica jersey giveaway with Gunner's going to be on that. I see you smiling already. I mean, we did these last year. We did it with Rushman with the jersey. The longest line I've ever seen for a giveaway. It started at 12:30. Now doors don't open until 6, and you couldn't get into the parking lot. The lines were so long they were blocking the entranceways of the stadium.
Wow, that's amazing.
Crazy. It was. So those are always my favorite because, again, this area just eats them up alive. And again, being able to tie the names of like Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rushman, Grayson Rodriguez, Jackson Holiday, keep naming them. Mountcastle, Mullins, they all came through here, and it excites our fans immensely. And as you can see, I'm excited about it as well. Can't wait to put a bunch of people and sell this place out again.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you guys are going to have to find new places to put the banners. You have all the banners of all the alumni. And that's a good thing, right? I mean, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So what is your favorite jersey that the Shorebirds have ever worn?
Ever? The very first Maryland Pride one, it actually looks like the Maryland flag, with the yellow and the gold and the red and the black. I'm born and raised in the state of Maryland. I was born and raised in Frederick, Maryland, and then they offered me to come live at the beach and still work in baseball. So that was a no-brainer for me. Right. And without a doubt, when we started this, I'm going to say about 7-8 years ago, I was like, heck yeah. And then when we designed this and I saw the guys wearing them, I'm like, we got to continue this. And again, our Thursdays are a huge night for us, especially when we do these giveaways. I mean, it's just like a Saturday night here.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is there any, and when you're looking at like the Orioles team right now, so I'm sure you watch them on TV and everything, is there any like past Shorebirds that you're like really excited to see?
I am actually excited to see Jackson. I by the stats I've seen, what he's been doing this spring, I think he probably will make it. But you never know. I mean, again, he's only 20 years old. Let's be realistic. So I'm anxious to see him just by the way he performed here. Again, he was only here for 6 weeks. But when you have those, when you see that special of a talent come through, I mean, you can tell. Like when Gunnar was here, I mean, Gunnar was here for 5 weeks. You can just tell. Westberg, when he was here, I mean, again, I think Westberg only lasted 4 weeks. Those guys are special. You can tell right away. Like, yeah, how did that guy last this long in the draft? And, again, good thing for the Orioles and the Orioles fans, like myself. I mean, there's some special talent. So it's not, again, I want to see, so to answer your question, I want to see Jackson get there, but I also root for all the guys who came through here. Like I'm rooting for Bautista to get healthy again, because he had a dominant year last year. I root for Vespi. I know he's been up and down a little bit. But he was a good kid, actually played here for a couple years. So got to know him pretty well. And of course, again, I've, mentioned the other ones like Grayson and Adley and Mountcastle and Mullins. I mean, again, these were all great kids, and you can do nothing but root for them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was there, that was when like Machado and Scope and all. But I mean, when Machado was there, you would hear like Ryan Miner just talk about how smooth he was. Everything was just, it was just like natural. He didn't have to really try. He just came out of high school, and just had the it factor. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it was also pretty cool because back then that's when they had the All-Star game, and he even shined throughout that. You had him and Bryce Harper and everybody there at the Shorebird Stadium, and that was pretty cool to see. You could see at that age who was ready. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
But it's pretty cool because you get to see. I mean, I don't know how often this happens, but like you're always standing behind home plate for every game, so you see everything. So it's pretty neat. But you probably somebody on another team throughout the league. I'm sure somebody could stand out just by watching. You're like, holy crap, we'll probably see him someday. So, but pretty neat. So,
oh no, it's absolutely awesome, and it's funny that you bring up Manny because, again, back in 2011, I will never forget. This place was packed for opening day. I mean, I don't want to say sold out because we have our standing room only, but we were sold out that day, and we had 5, 6, 7,000 people here. And this place got quiet as can be when he came up to bat his very first time. And he crushed one, and he hit it so hard it bounced off the third baseman's shin up into the stands. And he just, again, the guy couldn't defend himself. I mean, it was amazing. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And now you know why he is thought of so highly. Yeah. I mean, I always, like to say, people always ask, like, who is the best guy you've ever seen come through here? And at that point in time, again, I've always gone to Manny. Gunner's close. Gunner's really close. But yeah, Manny's probably the best one to come through Delmarva that I've seen in my 21 years here.
Yeah. What would be your favorite past memory of a Shorebirds player? You have any cool, just a memory that sticks out with a certain player?
I do. So 4th of July game, 4th of July, we sell out every single year. This place is packed to the gills. We're down 2 runs, bases loaded, 3-2 count. And what was the guy's name? He hit 20 home runs. I can't remember his name, but the moment he hit a grand slam walk-off, and he hit it, if you remember back in 2011, remember we had the scoreboard in left center field. Well, it's no longer there because our scoreboard we have a combo scoreboard and video board now that's in right center. But he hit it over top of the video board in left center field. It landed in the parking lot.
Wow.
This place went berserk.
Wow.
It was the vibes from the fans from that moment. Oh God, it was awesome. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember I was there, and I remember Mike Flacco, Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
And I remember he swung a 34.5-inch bat, biggest bat I've ever seen, especially I was in high school. So, but and he hit one over the right field scoreboard, the old video board there. And I mean, it's not, the distance wasn't the shocking part, but it went over, and I'd never seen anybody do that before. And I was just like, I mean, he was a big dude though, but I mean, that was that was crazy. That was, and the other funny part was his parents were there. So I think somebody somehow got them the ball and they gave it to him in the clubhouse after. But it was neat. That was one of the craziest home runs I've ever hit. But what's neat is because so many people think that how the performance doesn't matter when they're at the Shorebirds. Well, watch them guys when they touch him. It matters. You know what I mean? It's a big deal for every player. But that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. No, I mean, trust me, they know.
Yeah.
This is the first step to get to the big leagues. That's why you play, is to get to the top level. So.
Yeah. So, and any of the players that you've come across in your years at the Shorebirds, what's one that's impressed you with not really their play, but more their character and how they hold themselves?
There's been a couple. I talked about Nick Vespi earlier. Nick was a kid that, again, he wasn't as highly touted as, I'll say a Manny Machado or an Adley Rushman, but he worked his butt off. Started out as a reliever, pitched very well, and then they tried to stretch him out a little bit, and he became a starter, part of our 2019 team, and actually had a great year, and that's what got him on. But just his determination to work hard, and put in the effort every single day, whether it be down in the bullpens doing throwing bullpens or just the extra work that they had him, or watching video. And then on the other part of it is the way he interacted with our fans. Our let's be realistic. You wouldn't be doing what you're doing. Wouldn't be doing what I do if we didn't have fans to help support us. I mean, every sport needs fans, and the players who get that and want to make sure that, they sign all the autographs for the fans, that they shake hands, they take their selfies and everything else, giving back like that is a huge part, because again, you want to make sure your fans are being entertained and make sure they're happy, because if they are, then they're going to come back, maybe 2 or 3 times. And that's what it's all about. So players who get that part of it at this young age, because you got to remember here, most of the guys are anywhere from 18 to 20 years old. Most of them, it's either their first time away from home, first time playing this competitive baseball, where they're used to being the best of the best. But now you got 25 guys who were the best of the best coming here. So it's definitely very eye-opening. So not to get involved with just trying to do what you need to do on a day-to-day basis, but also remembering the other side of it, which is, again, interacting with the fans and giving back to them.
Yeah. Real quick. So, obviously Ryan Miner just passed away, and, you know him really well. When I worked there, he was like my first point of contact, because, I was, the bat boy there. So he pretty much told me what to do every day. But he was the best, right? So he made a bat boy feel like I was playing shortstop for the Shorebirds. So he made everybody kind of feel like that. Do you have any neat stories with him, or, anything to say about Ryan?
I mean, what I'd like to say about Ryan is obviously we definitely miss him. He will always be remembered here as, he was part of one of the 2 championships that are here, that the Shorebirds won. Him and Calvin Pickering won that. But he was just a good guy to have around for our community. I mean, not only, okay, so perfect example is the way you felt as being a bat boy with him, but imagine him outside of the stadium, and, you see him shopping with his wife. I mean, again, his wife teaches elementary school in the area. So he'd be out and about, and he'd just be like an average Joe. And again, you remember Miner's 6'6".
Right.
He's a big man. Let's be realistic. You can tell that he was an athlete. And just to see him in the way he was with our fans, with the players, the way he took I know how he carried himself when he played, just by chatting with him. I mean, I've watched him play, growing up when he was at Oklahoma. So I saw how he carried himself then, but the way he could teach that or get that across to the players when that's what they need to do. And again, like I said, just see him out in the community, supporting, doing different things. I mean, again, he will be missed.
Yeah, I remember just a real quick story with him is there was a third baseman named Tyler Cologne that played for the Shorebirds. And Ryan Miners is up on the top step, and all he wants Tyler to do is to move 3 steps over. That's all he wants to do. He said, Tyler, move 3 steps. And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't move over. And daggone, the next day I come in and Tyler Clowney's gone. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, oh, and that right there kind of set a tone where it was like, hey, all I had, if I ask you to do something, like we're not in high school. Like we do it. And it was just funny because it was, Ryan Miner, he kind of gave this like, I don't know. He was like a father figure in that locker room, but yet you knew not to overstep or it was just ignorant, not to be, be respectful. But right now I was like, oh man, I learned my lesson. I was like, hey, if my coach tells me to do something, but it's funny because he probably didn't even think I would see that. That's how far his reach was.
This one, I think I already kind of did answer because you were talking about it earlier, but what's been your favorite giveaway that the Shorebirds have had over the years?
Now you stumped me here a second. I got to think.
I remember they used to give out the small baseball bats. They were always my favorite growing up as a kid. Nothing's more dangerous than that nowadays, but
oh, you ain't kidding on that one. I mean, I can't remember the last time we gave mini bats away. It's been a long time. I guess I got to go with just the Maryland. I can't say one specific item. It's just the Maryland Pride themes because again, I'm a Maryland boy through and through. So just this series again, everything we do with it again, whether it be the hats, because I mean, we've had some sick hats. I mean, some really sick Maryland Pride hats that our guys design, or again, it's just the replica jerseys. And my personal ones, I always get affected by what is affecting or drawing the fans here to the stadium. And like I said, this replica jersey, man. I mean, bobbleheads still are the most popular giveaway, but that one, again, seriously, I've never had the lanes where cars cannot get into the stadium being blocked because we had so many people here.
But yeah, and then obviously it seems like I have to, try to get my wife to get to the stadium as early as possible in the bobblehead days because I get off work too late, so they'll be gone by tomorrow. But that's a good problem to have, right? You know what I mean? That's
absolutely. It keeps me employed, and that's why I've been here for 21 years.
Absolutely. Well, I can't thank you enough for joining and answering some questions for us. Your insight's something we can't replicate, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So Cody, I'm glad to do this anytime, and glad to see you. Glad to hear you're doing well. And next time you're at the stadium, stop by because, as you know, I'm here for every single game. I don't miss them.
It's crazy. You sure are. I've never seen anybody that talks to as many people as you do throughout a game. So it's great. It's great, to be as open as you are. So.
Well, again, anytime I'm glad to help you out. But like I said, please make sure you say hi next time you come out to the stadium.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, y'all take care.
See you, man. Bye.
See you.
Well, it's great having Mr. Jimmy Sweet on. I really appreciate him joining our podcast once again. And I'm excited because next week, baseball is almost here and we can finally get started to talk about our actual opening day lineups and rosters and games and, all the O's wins that we get to talk about throughout the regular season. We definitely hope you are able to join us next week on our podcast, the Eutaw Street Banter. Also, don't forget to keep up with all of our news and updates. Make sure you follow and like our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter page. And we're also on YouTube if you want to listen to our podcast on that. All right, everybody. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and we can't wait to see you next week.
See ya.